Right, I've decided it is time to go bikepacking, and it seems to be the trendy thing to do at the minute. It's also a trendy thing to make a YouTube video about your bikepacking adventures, kit and all the rest of it. So I'm using my trusty Cannondale Hybrid, which I've had for many years, and it's got on it, as you can see, a mishmash of very expensive new kit and some old bits and pieces and some that's really been bodged. And the first lesson I've taken is, if you want to do bikepacking sensibly, you have to spend a huge amount of money. If you take the front roll here, which was expensive enough, my old sleeping bag took up the whole roll when I tried to shove it in. So I spent a stupid amount of money on a new sleeping bag, and it only comes to halfway across there, so I can get a sleeping mat, coat, hat and some other bits and pieces in that front roll as well. If I had a compact sleeping roll, I could get even more in. On top, a little bit of a luxury. I'm going up where there's plenty of wildlife, so I've taken some binoculars. This food pouch, inverted commas, is a repurposed camera lens tube which I've strapped on, so it's just full of calories, lots of bits of technical kit, cables, spares and stuff, tent poles. The rest of the tent's in here, along with the rest of my food, spare clothes. And it does seem to be obligatory on all these bikepacking videos to have a enamel cup rattling from the rear bag. I may live to regret that. The first good news is the weather. It's a fine autumnal morning. I've been on the weather app obsessively this week, and the weather keeps changing from sunny intervals and to rain. Morning. So I'm delighted that we seem to be in the sunny intervals, at least to start off with. Not only will this make it a lot more pleasant, but one of my concerns is I haven't used the tent I've brought for over 10 years, and I don't know how waterproof it is. I've tried resealing the seams, but only time will tell whether I've done a good job. But for now, the sun is shining, the leaves are a beautiful colour, and I'm enjoying myself. Right, so 12 miles in, everything's going fine so far, fingers crossed, touch wood. Getting used to the extra weight in the bike. I reckon it's about 10 kilos. I'm surprised it's making a big difference, because when I started cycling a lot about 4 or 5 years ago, I dropped 7 kilos off my gut. So I should be used to hauling that about, but it does seem to be a little bit different with the weight of the bike, because in terms of performance, we've got hill climbing, sluggish, acceleration, sluggish, cornering, very sluggish, and descents can get a bit on these surfaces, you can get a little bit sketchy. But no, it's all going well. I've deliberately, in these first 15 or so miles, picked as much gravel route as I can, because that's the sort of conditions I want to bike pack. So I want to test the kit, I want to test my legs, I want to get used to sliding about with a slightly unbalanced bike. But so far, so good. Well, I've traversed the post-industrial lands of southeast Northumberland, and now I'm in one of my favourite places, Druids Bay. This is Creswell Pond behind me. I've stopped, got the binoculars out and had a bit of a look around. There's a large flock of widgeon, not a lot else going on, unfortunately no otters, which is one of the things I was quite keen to see. But Druids Bay is absolutely lovely. You can see the dunes behind me, and unfortunately I've got a bit of a headwind. It was a crosswind before, but it's swung round. We've now got a headwind, so that's going to be a bit of a challenge over the the next few miles. In terms of the bike, we're a lot muddier than we were before. 18 miles to get to Blythe, and then I've done about 12 miles on tarmac since. So the average speed has gone up and the heart rate's gone down, which is all good to know. But everything's holding together so far, and we're about halfway through. We're on the castle and coast route, and the first castle we come across is Warkworth. That is a pretty stunning castle, of course, up there. Oh man, Almouth, it's just so beautiful, even with the darkening skies. Whew. Yeah, this track along the coast is pretty tough with all this stuff, and we've had a bit of weather, but I don't think I can complain too much as it's the end of October. A bit of heavy drizzle, shall we say, but you know, the scenery behind me is absolutely spectacular, which more than makes up for it. Right, not far to go. Right, so I've got here, Ware Mill, just outside Bamburgh. A bit further than I thought. I thought it was 64 miles, it was closer to 70. But hey, I've got here. And this is my little patch that I've been allocated at Ware Mill campsite. And let's see what I've forgotten. Right, of all the pieces of kit I've bought, this has to be the cutest. Right, just have to go and get some water and then I can have a brew. So I've come out for a bit of a walk just to keep warm, but also I know that Butyl Bay is such a fantastic place for wildlife because it's part of the Lindisfarne Nature Reserve, and you won't be able to see anything here, but there's oyster catchers, there's a whole load of geese out on that sandbar out there, and there's a godwit. I can't remember whether it's a bar-tailed godwit or a black-tailed godwit, but there's a godwit there, and loads of red shank and other waders and stuff. So if you're into your bird life, this is an astonishing place. I don't think you can make out there. Just peeking over the horizon is Lindisfarne Castle, if you're into your castles as well. But you know, this is an absolute glorious place, and it's delightful to be here at dusk. And I was very tempted just to go and get a burger and chips in the restaurant here, but part of me wanted to do bike packing properly, so that's going to involve cooking. But I brought some tortellini and some pesto. The other thing I brought was a treat. It's a mini bottle of Campo Viejo, one of my favourite wines. Really terrible shape for putting in a bike packing bag, I found, but I didn't want to leave it behind. Ooh, this is looking a bit, should I turn that down just a little bit. Using my trusty spork. No bike packing would be complete without a spork, it seems. The real hardcore guys have titanium sporks, but I've just got a cheap plastic one here. Well, dude. Cheers. Well, it's morning. The sun's starting to come up over there on the horizon. It's raining. the tent's not waterproof. That's not a good thing. Good news is the sleeping bag was very good. I was very warm. Didn't sleep very well, but that was nothing to do with temperature or wetness. It was just me. I've got my coffee on, so I'm happy with that. Got some porridge going here, which I'm going to have to go and pay attention to because I'm not sure about the colour of that flame. A bit disappointed in the weather because it wasn't meant to rain until a bit later on, and I'm a bit worried that my off-road route for the way home is not going to be as viable or pleasant as I hoped it would be, but we shall see. I got really cold packing up there at the campsite. It was just miserable. It's sort of light rain, wind and cold. So 5 miles or so of I'm just going through 5 miles of headwind and gravel has really warmed me up again. I'm trying out these Byways, and I don't know if you can see behind me. First one was easy. Second one was completely overgrown, so I didn't bother with that. And this one, well, for the next section, is a bit wet, so I think I might have to push the bike around that. Oh, but at least I'm warm again. Well, that escalated quickly. Far from being a nice gravel track, it soon turned into a slog through a bog and deep grass. I don't know if you can see how deep the grass is here, but the tops of it are up to my saddle, managing about 4 miles an hour on the flat. Hey, fun. But hopefully it'll open up soon. So I'm back home, absolutely shattered too. This is I know a bit more about the expectations of my legs when it comes to bike packing. In terms of kit, I think everything worked well apart from the tent, which I'm gonna have to have another go at waterproofing. I don't want to throw it away. I've only used it 2 or 3 times, so I will try and waterproof it and see if I can get that up and running again. But apart from that, just go and get clean, dry and fed, because that really did take it out of me today.